Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to craft medium cluster jewels. Medium clusters are way easier to craft than large cluster jewels because you only need 2 notables, as you can see here. You don't need 3 like in larges, and you can craft on either 4 or 5 passives because you're always gonna spend 4 points to get the important points of the cluster. The only way you're spending more is if you have a 6 passive, so you're gonna have a small notable here as well, so you have to travel and spend 5 points instead. So what I recommend doing is always have a 4 or 5 passive cluster in your stash, ready to go to be crafted with harvest. Just have a few, and this is probably the most cost efficient way to craft them. Just harvest, reroll whenever you find one, and whenever you hit something good, you just get a free extra money. So the first medium clusters we're gonna be going over are the fire damage over time ones. On these ones, you want to hit anything that gives you faster ignites or damage over time multiplier or ignite proliferation or exposure. These cluster jewels are really popular right now because they changed the explodey, and since they changed the explodey, you need to supplement your clear speed with something else, whether it be ignites or heralds or stuff like that. I'm gonna show you like what to use in every case, which harvest rerolls to use on every different medium. On the fire ones, I would go for fire and life, or you can also use fossils, pristine, and scorch, but I recommend always choosing harvest as the first option because fossils are expensive. You could also alteration spam and scour binding instead if you really want. And the second clusters we're gonna be going over are brand clusters. These are really strong. All brand builds use these, and you probably want to be using caster and speed as rerolls on these. You could also alteration spam if you're at the start of the league and alterations are cheap, or you can also scour binding if there's a profit margin. I don't recommend using fossils as these clusters are relatively cheap and fossils are kind of expensive because they can be used into anything. You can craft anything with fossils. The next one we're gonna go over are the chaos damage over time multiplier. You probably want to use reroll chaos and reroll defense, as most of these mods have chaos and defense tags. And if you really want to use fossils, you could be using aberrant and dense. On feast damage over time multiplier, a lot of people have been using this now because there's new blood skills, like for example Exsanguinate. It's a feast damage over time multiplier skill, and they're pretty popular and they're really strong. You can get so much damage. For example, this one is 14 feast damage over time multiplier if you spend life recently, which if you're using Exsanguinate, it's always, because it spends life as a mechanic of the skill itself. So you can get like 28% more damage on a cluster jewel. How you roll these? You can just use a reroll attack, chaos, defense, life, or physical, depending on the specific jewel. You can always look at here. There's a lot more information. Like for example, you can check the base you can craft on and the finished base price. The next one we're gonna look for are the cold damage over time multiplier jewels. There's a lot of cold damage over time builds like Vortex, Wintertide brands, Cold Slingers, stuff like that. And you're just gonna want to reroll them with cold, defense, or life. Or you could also use dense, frigid, pristine. Always check the market price before crafting to see if there's a profit margin, and also check Craft of Exile to see what your expected cost is gonna be. You're not always gonna make profit on these if you actually invest, but if you just bring them in harvest and you just do it for free, you're gonna make a lot of money. Like for example here on the blowback cooked alive, as you can see here, the base jewel is like 1.6 exalts, the fire damage over time one, and if you craft it, it's like 4 exalts. These are 2.4, 2.3, 2.4 exalt profit margin that you can just have for free once in a while once you hit the reroll and you get lucky and you hit like the correct notables on the on the cluster. And if you look at this, I'm telling you like the exact level. There's like a cheat sheet where you can see the level and all the important, like the level that you can roll all the important mods with, and how many notables. Like for example, most of them are going to be 5 or less passives. And we're going to go over to the next ones. The next ones are going to be the non-damaging ailment medium clusters. These are really good for self-chill builds. You can scale the reverse chill by increasing your action speed with these. So you can get like crazy amounts of speed from scaling your chill effect, increased effect of non-damaging ailments. These affects shock and chill. And one of the strongest mediums in the game, I think, in my opinion, for mapping is called Conduction Blast Freeze. What this does is, as long as you're freezing something, you can proliferate the freeze so that you're way safer because everything in the map gets frozen. And they also get chilled and shocked, so they take 15% increased damage. This is basically a line that says all of your enemies, as long as you're chilling, take a flat amount of 15% more damage, as long as you don't have other increased damage taken modifiers in your build. But yeah, you're gonna roll these by using Frigid, the Metallic, or Cold, reroll Cold, or reroll Lightning from Harvest. For Aura-Bot duels, you can either go for like really basic ones for replenishing presence and first among equals, or you can go for like more expensive ones for 35% effect and T1 ES. For example, I'm gonna show you in game the ones I'm using right now. They are T1 Energy Shield and 35% effect, and this scales my point to be 16 Energy Shield and 4% Aura effect for each point. So if I take 5, it's gonna be 80 flat Energy Shield and 20 Aura effect for 5 points. And of course, I'm also getting 1 Jewel Socket. So these are extremely good. I think they go for around 10 exalts, while the base is around 3.5. So there's a 6.5 profit margin on one of these, and they're not that hard to craft. I got like 1, 2, 3. I got like 4 or 5. How I crafted them, I just used Scour Binding. I recommend this method for this one, but you could also use Dance or Reroll Defense. For Herald mediums, there isn't any tags to target mods, so I would just recommend anything that you have left over. If you really want a Herald medium, you just throw whatever you want at it, or you can just Scour Binding until you hit the mods you want. There's no tags, so you're just at the mercy of RNG. You're just have to just spam with whatever you have left. But these are really good if you go with Aura-Bot, because you can scale. It's basically 40% aura effect of everything that the Aura-Bot gives you on you. So it's a really strong notable purposeful Harbinger, and there's other good ones as well. For crit chance mediums, Pressure Point is like one of the best nodes. It gives you 5% to deal double damage. And there's also pretty good ones here as well. This gives you speed. This gives you more damage, and this gives you some AoE for scaling your explode. And you're gonna roll this by using reroll caster, reroll critical, reroll speed on a level 68 plus base. The next ones are gonna be Curse mediums. Evil Eye, Master of Fear, Wish for Death are all 3 really good mods. You can get Unnerve, you can get Culling Strike, and you can get increased damage taken plus blind. These are really good, and you're gonna roll them by using either Etheric or reroll caster from Harvest. For AoE clusters, the good notables are Magnifier, Vast Power, and Towering Threat. I recommend rolling them with Harvest Critical or Harvest Reroll Life, or you could also use Pristine if you really want Towering Threat as a life tag. And these are really good for AoE scaling, for clear speed. They're not bad. You can scale your explode, range, AoE. The next ones are going to be Projectile mediums. These are really good for stuff like Spark, Tornado Shot, and you're going to want to reroll them with Attack, Caster, or Speed. And I don't recommend using fossils for this because they're not that expensive, and you're gonna be spending a lot if you spend fossils. If you use fossils, you could also alteration spam or scour binding, like every other jewel. But yeah, the next ones are gonna be mine clusters. These are really strong for ZHP builds like icicle miners, or at the start of the league I personally use them because they give you so much damage on miners. They give you penetration and crit multi, and they give you movement speed and trap throwing speed, mine throwing speed. That's just really strong. They're really cheap though, so I don't think it's really worth to craft them. But if you want to craft them at the start of the league, alteration spamming is a really good method. Mid leagues, probably scour binding, or just buy one already made. Or if you just have harvest, you could throw some reroll critical or reroll speed on them. The next one is gonna be totem mediums. These are not really used a lot, but on a few niche builds that are really strong. For example, some accuracy stacking builds, or what Grimro played this league, the Freezing Pool Totem Hierophant. For some niche builds, these are really insane. You have permanent onslaught pretty much, and increasing the totem placement range is actually really strong. You're way safer when you're playing. And if you want to roll these, I recommend using Harvest, Reroll Attack, Caster, or Speed. The next ones are gonna be channeling mediums. These are insane. Infusion is a gem link that you can put in your channeled skills, and what this gives you is less damage taken and more damage, and increase more damage. So if you use 50% increased effect of infusion, is basically like a less multiplier to damage taken and more multiplier to damage done. This might not seem really good, but it's insane. And Enduring Focus basically gives you endurance charge generation. There's not many ways to generate endurance charges in the game, so this is really strong as well. If you want to reroll for these, I would recommend just doing reroll speed from Harvest. And as the last ones, the Flash Duration mediums for all the mana stacking miners and other builds. These are really strong. For rolling these, I would recommend either using Lucent Fossils, because most of them have Liquid Inspiration, which is a mana tag, or you can also do Reroll Attack, Caster, Life, or Speed, because the other mods other than Liquid Inspiration will have some of these tags. And yeah, that's it. Let me know what you want to see in the next videos, and thanks for watching.